Good morning from Panhandle Outdoors with Winston Chester. Panhandle Outdoors, your source for fishing, hunting, and information for folks who enjoy the great outdoors. Now sit back, relax. It's Panhandle Outdoors.
Good morning, folks. Welcome to Panhandle Outdoors. I'm Winston Chester. Glad to hear this Wednesday morning. Got a great show lined up, and let's get started with our weather. Brought to us by Haney Technical Center, corner of Baldwin Road and Highway 77. I'm about to get one of those. Put your order in for one of those fish cleaning tables we talked about yesterday. That's something that lasts a long, long time, and you can't get a better price. It can be custom made for you right there at the welding shop there at Haney. All right, high today. We're looking at a high today of 71 and a low tonight of 52. So it's going to be fine. We're going to have a good, decent day, and some of that moisture. The ground's going to be soaking them up and get a little bit drier than we've had. But I know we've had a lot of people had 3 and 4 inches of rain the last few days, and we're all ready for some dry weather, and we're going to get some. Water temperature, the big one we've been talking about, is still at 63 degrees. We're waiting for it to go up a couple more degrees. Got some varied, spread out reports, a little bit of happening, but nothing big is coming in yet, I can promise you. So take a look at our river readings. We know what's going to happen here. The Apalachicola at Bluntstown is reading at 12.1. And I'm thinking this is going to change by the weekend. It's got it dropping out, but it may change on tomorrow's forecast. We'll watch it really close on tomorrow. Thursday is always a good day to get a good reading. The Choctaw at Caryville, it is up there. It's at a 11.6, and it says it's going down a little bit Thursday. Again, it may change a little bit too. All right, let's take a look at our tide chart brought to us by Kent Forest Lawn Funeral Home and Cemetery. And their motto is "When Carrying Counts." We're located right here on 23rd Street. Looking at today's tides. We're looking at a high tide at 11:30 this morning and a low tide at 8:50, and today is the 19th, and you're looking at just a little bump right there. But next couple of days we're going to be get back into some really good tides and all. Our marine forecast will be south-southeast at 5 to 10, so it's going to be really going to be a good day to get out on the water. If you can find some good clean water, it'll be a really good day to do that. Now, once a week, we like to get our blue water outrigger fishing report from Captain Blair Morgan, and it's right there on Cape San Blas. We'll try to cover the eastern end of our viewing area, and always have a good report from Blair. Good morning, Blair.
Good morning, Winston. How are you?
I'm doing well, buddy. Tell us what's going on down there.
Well, we're about flooded out here on the Cape, man. We've had a bunch of rain out here.
Yeah.
It was already wet to start with, and ground just saturated out here, but fishing wise, it's the weather's off and on. We'll get a pretty day or two, and then it gets cold and rains again. And fishing wise hasn't been real good, but people are still catching a lot of trout and sheephead and drum up in the Coastal Waterway and the St. Joe Canal. And there's a few fishing around Apalachicola Bay that's still catching big trout. And of course, you're catching a lot of white trout now.
Okay, Blair, where are they catching that white trout? What are some of the best places to go for that?
Just over here off of Indian Pastures, anywhere, just get out there, off the beach ways and catch white trout. Over there in the Apalachicola Bay, around the humps, on the bridges over there. But they're just about everywhere. They're easy to catch. They're fun to catch.
Okay, we always talk about, we're always talking about the stump holes. Seems to always be some activity. Always some fishermen down there. We don't always know if they're catching something, but has it been pretty active this past week, the stump holes?
Yeah, they're catching some whiting and sand trout off the beach there. And I saw a guy hook into something real big off the beach one day this weekend. And I don't know if it was a big bull red or what it was, but it was a big one, and it finally spooled him and broke him off. But he came up and rolled, and I couldn't. It wasn't a shark. I know that.
Well, that sounds like a big bull red. I mean, they'll fight them really strong, and they will spool someone pretty quick.
Yeah, he ended up down the beach about a half mile before he started trying to keep up with the fish.
Yeah, I know he had fun doing that.
Yeah, the fish was going to the west, and he was following him, but finally the fish got the best of him.
Well, okay. Well, we're going to try to get down and do some surf fishing real soon, so we'll be checking with you when we get down there.
Yeah, when the water warms up a little bit, the pompanoes start running, the Spanish and ladyfish and all that will start running, It's just a matter of time.
Yeah, but so far you just haven't had any runs yet, have you?
No, not that I know of.
Okay, that's what I've been hearing all over too. All right, Blair, well, thank you very much, buddy.
All right, have a good one.
All right, take care. All right, folks, that's our viewpoint from the eastern viewing area, brought to us by Blue Water Outriggers in Port St. Joe. Great folks down there. Run by and check out that tackle store and all kind of stuff they have there. Let's take our break, and we'll be right back with our special guest. Welcome back, and welcome to our special guest, Win Vickers.
Morning.
Good morning, Win. Win has the distinct privilege now of being the Panhandle Outdoors marketing rep. So we are glad to have you on the show.
Yeah, looking forward to it. This is going to be a new venture for me, and I've been in sales all my life, and I'm looking forward to contacting these people that advertise with us and see if I can get some more advertising for you.
Yeah, folks, you're talking about taking a load off your shoulder. This has really been a big plus. It's funny how things work out in life, how you meet people and all, and get to know people, and Win is just an ideal fit on this Panhandle Outdoors team to do this, and it just takes an enormous load off my shoulders to handle all this advertising. Gives me more time to go fishing and video for y'all and all. But Win, tell us a little bit about yourself. You're a local boy.
Yeah, born and raised right here in Panama City. Graduated from Bay High in 1973. I was a member of the Bay High $1 Million Band under Ron Hardy back in the day.
That was a good one.
Yep, it certainly was, and we had a great time. We had a lot of good time, put on some really good music. I married a woman from New Orleans, lived in New Orleans for 30 years, and recently, about 10 years ago, moved back here, kind of slowed down a little bit, a little slower pace of life, and been enjoying being back. It's really been a little different, and both of my kids are out of the house, so it's been a great move for us.
Well, I know you're talking about, we're talking about cooking. I know you really enjoy cooking. I know you living in New Orleans, you had to been around a lot of cooking and all.
Well, it's really hard to live in New Orleans and not get caught up in that food culture there. I learned to cook here, probably started out in my Boy Scout days. I remember camping out at Redfish Point and, and going fishing out there. And I even recall times where we could actually walk out there in knee-deep water and get scallops, and we would take the scallops and shuck them right there on the beach and take them and grill them over the fire, which, that was wonderful. And that's really what got me started. I love to cook and grill outside. I love barbecue and grilling, and that's probably the one thing that I enjoy more than anything.
Well, that's really cool. That's such a unique place to have been started out camping there at Redfish Point and all that, and doing all that. And growing up and all, we seemed to all grew up so fast and all, but those memories of doing those kind of things are always with us.
Yep, and Boy Scouts are a great program. You learn a lot, and
yes.
Like I said, it's probably where I really got my start cooking seriously.
We always encourage our young people to join one of those. In fact, I just about 2 weeks ago had one of my students become an Eagle Scout, and we went to the ceremony and all. That's a special time.
It absolutely is.
So you've had a good background here, not just locally, but in outdoors and cooking and all that. Then living in New Orleans a while. Yep. But that had been unique though, living out there and around all that food though.
It is, and I mean it's a little different culture. It's really different. Over there in the markets, they eat a lot of speckled trout and a lot of redfish. Mm-hmm. You don't see snapper and grouper in the markets, although they do catch it. It's mostly processed and shipped out of state. Huh. Here it's a little different. You see a lot more snapper and grouper and amberjack and those things in the markets.
Is that right?
Yeah.
And I guess a lot of perlo and sauces and different kind of things all mixed together. You see?
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. There's a lot of recipes that. They use local sausages and things like that that spice up that cuisine. So
yeah, I was watching a special the other day on Tabasco sauce and how that's in a certain area, only place in the world. I mean, they get it grown in the world, but they get it processed. And it's a 5th generation family doing it, McElhaney's.
Right, and that's a beautiful area, Avery Island, where they process all of that, and that's a condiment that you'll see on restaurant tables all over the world.
It's amazing.
So it's amazing what a little operation that grew into such a massive industry.
And what hit me so strong was that it lasted that many generations of a family, because usually the second, third generation is going to sell out.
Right.
Well, they've kept it in the family. It's fascinating information.
Right.
All right, we're going to take a break now. We'll be right back. Welcome back, folks. Here, Win Vickers, the new advertising rep for Team Panhandle Outdoors, and we are more than thrilled to have him on board, believe me, and it offers a lot and all. Well, Win, let's go through some pictures and all. We want to show these folks some pictures. We got some of you too, but we're going to start off of this nice catch of sheephead. This is one of my students. She and her dad went fishing Saturday, and I'm going to have her come on the show tomorrow and tell you about this catch, because it's really sort of unique how she and her dad did this, because, well, I'm just going to wait and let her talk about it. But this is a nice sheephead caught at the jetties. All right, next one. Go and put an announcement up now for the Ling Ding tournament. They named it after John Thompson, who was an outstanding fisherman, an outstanding person down in that community of Mexico Beach. It's the Ling Ding 2014. Now, they're going to do it three weekends, and we talked about this before. I was in this thing way back in the 70s, and it was a lot of fun. 3 weekends there. It's going to be at the Mexico Beach Marina. $2,000 a big fish winner, and second place $1,000. So we'll be talking about some. Go ahead and put it on your calendar, those 3 weekends in April. You don't have to fish all 3 weekends, but you can fish in those weekends, and you can check the rules out at the Ling Ding tournament. All right? This next picture. Here it is, folks. The first picture was Spanish in 2014. Now, that's not much bigger than a sardine. You can see next, they are some very, very scattered reports of Spanish being caught. And this is one of them. They're real small, but the Spanish run has not started. Just don't drop what you're doing, run it there and start fishing for Spanish today, because we're not going to get them quite yet. We've had 2.5 fogs. In fact, the cobia guys, check this out. The cobia guys, they're out there looking, but this is the pier, on the county pier, and they haven't had any luck either, but they're trying to hang in there with this weather. It's really hard to see them in the overcast skies like this. So, but now this is going to be happening pretty soon. But they've already started the cobia watch, and Panama City has begun right there. Okay, now let's go to John. I'm sorry, the Win. We were talking about John Thompson down there at Mexico Beach, but this is Win Vickers cooking. Tell us about some of this cooking you're doing.
Well, that's one of my Thanksgiving turkeys. Every year I do 2 turkeys. I'll do a traditional oven roasted turkey, and that was a rotisserie turkey that I had marinated in mojo marinade, which is a Cuban type of marinade. Marinated it overnight, put it on the rotisserie, threw some pecan shells on the fire, and got a little pecan smoke in it, and that's me carving the big turkey.
Well, listen, what do the pecan shells do? Do they just
Well, it's just like using pecan wood or hickory wood to smoke. It adds a smoked flavor. A lot of the oils from the tree end up in the nuts themselves. So I was given a large bag of pecans, and in the process of shelling them and putting them up in the freezer for future use in pies and things, I kept the shells. So instead of using like hickory chunks, you can use the pecan shells, and you can soak them in water like you do hickory chips, or you can use them dry if you like, but it's a different taste of smoke than hickory or oak.
Oh, it is. I've never had a pecan. I've heard people using it. I may try that sometime, but I've always had good luck with hickory. I guess I'm accustomed to it, but you brought up a good point about soaking them and all. I always dampen my stuff too, sort of smoke a little bit more. Yeah,
it's good to do that because they smolder and they'll smoke a little bit more.
All right, let's see now. The next one here is, check this out.
Yeah, that's Thanksgiving Day out at my mother's house, and that's a picture of my oldest son, Joshua, and my 2 granddaughters, Avon and Harley.
All right. I bet they were having. Now, where do they live?
They live in New Orleans.
All right.
Yeah.
Well, I bet they were tickled to come over this way, wasn't they?
Oh, yeah.
And one more picture. This is the family.
Well, that's the big family picture. We were at a relative's wedding in Birmingham area, so that's my wife next to me. That's Joshua and his wife, Christy. And then there, on the other side is my younger son, Andrew, and his girlfriend, Sarah.
All right. Nice looking family there. You can see
Thank you.
We were talking about it, and we sort of met Walter introduced us. You play in the church band.
I do. Like I said, I was in the $1 Million Band, but I've been playing guitar since I was about 9 years old, and got an opportunity to join the praise band at Lynn Haven United Methodist Church, and we play on a rotating schedule, so I'm not there every Sunday, but it's been a lot of fun for an old guy like me to get up and play.
It was about 2 Sundays ago, y'all came in with that bluegrass I Fly Away, Sam, was that your group?
Yeah, we did it. We did a bluegrass segment that morning. So
yeah,
it was a lot of fun.
That was outstanding. So our paths have crossed, and you can see his family and all, and the kind of person he is, the background, how he's going to fit in with our what we try to endeavor each morning to try to do, bring out just a good message of the outdoors and enjoying things, and he's going to take a segment of the show that's been really difficult and hard to do just because of the time element. And we're going to put across the screen how to get a hold of Win, and you'll be pretty available most times, won't you?
Absolutely. If I don't answer my cell phone, just go ahead and leave a message, and I'll call you right back as soon as I possibly can. Yeah. And we've got a lot of nice options and some ideas that we've been tossing around on things to do to help these local businesses get their names out there.
And that, he brought up a very good point. We're very flexible. One of the beauties of doing a show like this is we sort of our show, and we have the flexibility in putting together an advertising package. You know, I hardly ever talk about advertising on the show and all, but that's the lifeblood of any television show and any network, whatever, is the advertising revenue. So, yeah. And we're going to come in from a stronger angle now, and like I say, we can. Whatever your budget fits in your budget, we can sort of work with you on that, right. And we can do all kinds of little things like spots and 30 seconds and all that. So,
and being a local show, we obviously want to take care of our local businesses and support them, and we cover a pretty broad area from Carabel all the way over to Destin. So
yeah, so we're real pleased about that. So go ahead and give Win a call, but we're going to take our final break and we'll come back and wrap things up. Okay. Welcome back. Glad you're with us this morning. Sitting here with Win Vickers, part of Panhandle Outdoors team. Let's first, though, another team member, Mark Coward, on our fishing game forecast for today. Give Mark a call on real estate needs, 832-6000. Now, looking at our times to go fishing or outdoors this morning, we just passed it from 2:45 to 4:45, but this evening, 3:09 to 5:09, and it's going to be a good day compared to the last 10 days we've had. It's going to be a good day to get outdoors and do some things and all, okay? Now, we were talking about being in New Orleans and all, just around that, I guess, a different culture you mentioned. Right. But one of the things, we're talking about sheephead, because people are now catching sheephead and all. I said, we're going to use this, you told me about it. I said, we'll use this as a tip of the day. So tell us how this fella that you knew cleaned his sheephead.
Well, you know, those sheephead are tough to try to fillet off the bone. Those scales are big and tough. He used a linoleum knife. Pick it up at your local hardware store or big box center. Sharpen it on a whetstone like you do a regular knife. Yeah. But a linoleum knife has got a hook nose on it. Yeah. And once you get it in there, it's easy to pull across those scales and open them up. And a lot of times over there, they will actually take that fillet on the shingle, still on the skin, boil it in a little crab boil, and then take a fork and rake the meat off to make mock crab meat. Really? For crab cakes and stuff. So, interesting.
That is interesting. That's like the old timers used to talk about. The scallops here came out of stingrays and all. I don't know if that ever was true.
I've heard that rumor, but I don't know.
I've never seen it to my knowledge, but they said they just fed them to tourists and not local people and all. Now, I know you're a great cook and all. What are some of your favorite foods?
Well, I love to cook, etouffees, and I love to grill local grouper and snapper. I know it's all the great fresh seafood we have available down here. It's just there's all sorts of things you can do with it.
Let me ask you this: I love to grill fish too. I'm not near as good as you because of the background you've had and all. What are some of the secrets in grilling your snapper and grouper? What are some of the things you try to do?
First thing you need to do is you need to coat it with oil. That helps it to keep it from sticking on the grill. You need to get your fire really, really hot. And as far as grilling, you want to do it quick. You want a really hot fire, sear it on one side, flip it over, sear it on the other, and pull it off. You don't want to let it sit and get too overcooked and dry out.
All right. Now this is a tough question because I'm going to ask you to give me some kind of time frame. I know a lot of times it's the thickness of the meat and all, but I know, of course, I always catch. I was a kid about always catching big fish and all, but really the thickness has. But tell us about how many times you turn it over just one time?
Turn once. Okay. And I probably can do shrimp or fish. 4 to 6 minutes is all you really need to get those cooked.
No kidding.
Good hot fire,
4 to 6 minutes. I've been going a little bit longer.
Yeah. Well, again, I don't want to get it too dry because that happens a lot of times, particularly with some of the thinner fish. But like you said, it does have something to do with the thickness. But 4 to 6 minutes, like small shrimp and stuff, can be cooked relatively quick on a really hot fire.
Okay. And now, I don't want to see, because you always wait till that charcoal is all white and everything and really got that strong heat.
Well, if I'm doing something that's going to take a little bit longer to cook, I do that. But for something like fish or shrimp, as soon as those coals burn down, the fire burns down and they're red hot, I throw my grill on there, I let it sit a few minutes and get hot, and then I go right on there with my my seafood.
Okay, all right. Let me ask you this now: when you do you put it like in a fish basket, or you just do it? Is it open?
I have. It depends on the size of the fillet that I'm using. Recently, when my youngest son was down here this past summer, he went fishing, and I cooked a whole snapper. It had been scaled, but had the skin on, and stuffed the cavity with some herbs and stuff, and grill that. But that's a situation where I would let the coals burn down, and I'd put the lid on my kettle so that it would sort of bake as it cooked the outside. And again, I had it tied up so that it would hold together. That turned out really good.
So that was a whole snapper.
Whole snapper.
How do you tie it up? You just wrap your string around?
Just wrap some string around. I put some bundles of herbs and stuff in the cavity, and I made an herb butter as well that I basted the outside. I put some slits on both sides of the fish so that the butter would get into the meat.
That's cool. You can see now, I'm on my mind's already rolling. We'll start setting up a fishing show once a month, a cooking show, fishing different fish and different game and all that kind of stuff. So we may have to do that.
Absolutely.
Because that kind of experience. Thank you so much, Win.
Glad to be here.
Folks, y'all give Win a call and be part of Panhandle Outdoors team, and we can get a good, if you don't have a spot, Jeff Peck can go shoot a good video for you. So all kinds of things. We're just trying to, do the best we can to bring you the very best in outdoor news and all kind of stuff here in the Florida Panhandle. So again, as always, we appreciate your viewership. You always do something good for someone today. Have a great day, and God bless.
Thanks for joining us for Panhandle Outdoors with Winston Chester. Panhandle Outdoors features hunting, fishing, and other activities and information to help you enjoy the great outdoors. Join us next time for Panhandle Outdoors.